Grant, well said. So the larger, you know, if like this is a full spectrum of movement, the larger that spectrum of movement is, the more, again, variability you need. This is variability. This is the definition of variability, right? So you need to be further off the cliff if you have to move through the spectrum. The closer that goes down, you can be closer to the cliff. So like sprinting is going to be like this, like you said, like Anthony said, like there's two lines, there's one, like, it's one action really, it's cyclical, which is, you have to have some kind of movement, but like, um, because it's cyclical and it's not just bilateral and moving, like a broad jump wouldn't need a lot because it's bilateral, it's just right here. But the fact that you have to go cyclical, actually, you still need some movement, but the ranges of actual movements that you're doing is like right here. I don't mean like joint ranges, I mean the type of movement, right? Versus like basketball, you're multi-directional, you're up, you're down, you're tall, you're lateral, you're vertical, all these things. So you need to be further away from the cliff because you have to be able to operate within all these different movements, all these different positions, situations that you find yourself in. Volleyball too. Volleyball, you got to get to the ground. Sometimes you get your hand in the ball. People don't talk about this in volleyball, which I don't know why, but like outside hitters, like if you can't lower your center of gravity, if you can't control your linear momentum, your forward momentum going into a hit, like that's a big deal. So like that's, you just go into the net, right? But it's the mechanism for throwing a baseball or a javelin is the same mechanism to get a high jump on an approach in volleyball. You take horizontal momentum, you plant your foot, you turn it into vertical momentum. If you can do that well, you'll jump out of the building. If you can do that well, you'll throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. If I'm a right-handed pitcher and I push off the mound and I create a lot of momentum, horizontal momentum towards the plate, if my left foot can stick in the ground and stop my horizontal momentum, then you start producing vertical force into the ground, and that flies up the chain and the body into the ball or the javelin, and that's how you create velocity on a ball. So like in javelin throwing and baseball, the ability, like the vertical force of that front leg has been like shown in research as like a top 3 indicator of performance in throwing. And it makes sense. You have to stop it stops, not only does it stop your horizontal momentum, but it creates your vertical force. And so so let's say I've got a volleyball player that can't decelerate well. Well, they'll do one of two things. They'll either go slow into the net or they'll go fast, but start slowing down sooner. But regardless of which one they do, they're still slow at the moment that they have to get vertical. Versus someone who can fly up into the net, stop, and go vertical, that girl's going to not lose any of the built-up momentum that she developed on her approach, because it's the build-up of that horizontal momentum that gets translated into the vertical. So it's not horizontal momentum done, vertical starts from zero. The horizontal momentum, much like a wave crashing against the wall, it hits the wall and then it goes up. That's what happens with your momentum. It goes from horizontal to vertical if you can stop it. If the knee keeps traveling forward or something else has to cheat, then you're losing your horizontal momentum and there will be less of it pushed into the vertical. So you won't jump as high, you won't throw as fast. So you get like these guys that go Euro steps, in basketball where it's like left leg, right leg jump. If you can't handle your horizontal momentum, you go left leg, right leg, jump into the defender versus left leg, right leg, jump over the defender. That's a big deal.